November. It's a little chilly this morning. I postponed a bike ride because I wanted to see if a guy can't get this old girl fired up today. It's been sitting around in here for a couple years. It's a mess, but this is kind of a rare little feast here. This is a DJ, a 1958 DJ. They called it a dispatcher, but this is a 4x4 version. They normally came 2x, but since this came out of the mountains of southern Colorado, they needed a 4-wheel drive on this guy. For its purposes, its intended purposes, probably it was a dispatch, so it was a delivery vehicle of some sorts. Anyway, it has not been fired up. I've been postponing this for quite some time because I needed a starter. And I needed somebody to help me count the teeth on my flywheel because these old L134 flathead Go Devils, they came in 3 varieties of flywheels back here in the tooth count. A 97, which would have been in a 97 tooth, which would be in this old 48, and then a 124 tooth, which would have been in the kind of next generation of the Go Devil, I guess, which they were dropping in some trucks and mid-50s. And then when they started moving into the 129 teeth, and this one happens to be the 129. Well, just so happens that I came across a 129 tooth starter that I know works. And where is that fella? Right here. A 9-tooth for a 129 tooth flywheel, old original 12-volt starter. That came out of this 1960s, which has the F134, which that guy is sitting right here. So as you can see, I got lots of different things going on, but I was hesitant to buy a starter. I didn't want to drop $350 if I didn't know if this thing could turn over or not. So here we are. This will be the first run of this guy in who knows how long. So all I've done to date is I yanked out some spark plugs, the old auto lighters, 295s, and they are pretty rusted up. Anyway, we're gonna clean them up and just use them, try to get this thing to start. Got a lot of junk in the fuel filter bowl. The carb is probably shot and leaks, but we're gonna try it anyway, and hopefully the fuel pump comes around and actually pulls in some fuel, or I'll have to figure something out about that. I'm sure the gaskets in the diaphragm is all dried up, but we're gonna give it a shot. So I did spray a little Chromo into each cylinder port, just so Lauren and I could actually spin this engine and she could count the tooth to verify that I had a 129, which I do. Somebody had put a new solenoid in here at one point. Tried getting this thing running, but as you can see, I'm sure we got grounding problems. Here's the grounding strap. Who knows? Anyway, the old oil filter, I don't even know if it's got oil. I don't know if it's got the fluids. I haven't even got that far, but we're gonna go ahead and see if this thing doesn't at least give me a little, or how would this one go? This one would probably go with a bunch of smoke. So this is a whole 70-ish, 65, 70 horsepower. But it got him around back then. Did the job. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and start working on this guy and see if I can't just light it up. Go from there. Be back in a bit. Firstly, I'm just gonna go ahead and wire brush these clean. I don't really want to spend any money trying to get this started, but the bare minimums. I'll wire brush these. I'm gonna drop a little premix 2-stroke fluid into the bowl. See if we can't this thing to come alive. I'm sure it's stuck. I'll tap it with a hammer. I'm going to fill up the bowl here, and I'm going to take off this little filtre. Clean that up just because I'm sure it's got a lot of crap in it. That'll be the gas side that I work on here. Ignition. Again, I'll clean up those plugs, get them back in there. These wires are probably okay. I'm sure the points are shit. But I'm gonna try the coil. Hopefully the coil's good. I'll check that. Those will be my electricals. I will put the starter on, get it connected up, and drop. I got a battery I can drop in here. And that'll be the ignition side. Hopefully it's got some compression. And we'll start her up. Let's give the float a little bit of taps. Well, not too bad in there. But we definitely don't want that to go up into the carb. But I believe there should be a little filter right there also in her. So let me get this cleaned up, put this back together. I just hit this with a little more 2-cycle premix. Just get those gaskets wet in there. Then we'll start working on that electrical portion of this. All right, so let me show you a couple doodads here. You gotta love the way sometimes these get thrown together. You gotta remember, these things were out and about, they were used. There wasn't no Amazons, there wasn't no internets, there wasn't anything that you can order parts and have it deliver in a couple days. These guys had to make do with whatever they had around to get their operations up and operational. So here's what we got. We got the starter in. Remember I said I had a starter from a CJ5 with the 129.2. I got that feller in there. So we got a connector up. And while I was doing that, I noticed we got an open ground wire right here. And we have this battery tie down, which is perfect premium. This is what we do. Maybe I'll keep that. I'm going to finish this electrical part. I'm going to pop off the distributor, maybe clean the points in there. I'm not going to do a whole lot else. I'm going to turn this over without the spark plugs in, just to blow out some of the crowel I tossed in there while I was turning it over, just to lube it up a little bit. So we're going to finish up this electrical, I'm gonna go get my battery, drop her in here, and just see if I can get this to turn over. Just click, 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 boom, boom, click, 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 click. That would be great. That's the next point. Some click, 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 clicks. And just one other thing here. It's very rarely you get the starter stick that fits these things. I don't know where this came from, but it is not the right tool for this job. So, I gotta figure that out. I don't even know what kind of miles this has on it. 30,219, or is that 130,219? Your guess is as good as mine. It's probably 30,000. Could you imagine putting 130,000 miles on this kind of a vehicle? It's got to be 30,000. Well, a quick update here. A guy decided that it's best to go ahead and redo some of this wiring. As I showed you earlier, some of it was pretty sketchy. So I went to the store. I already had the battery cables. I cut them. I've got rolls of them. So I make my own cables here. This is good stuff. Redid my positive to the starter. The starter already has a solenoid on it. Okay. Don't need this additional one. So this is going to go bye-bye. Connect it up to that solenoid. And I'm hot to the key. And I went and got a new key. The other one was sketchy. So all I got is starter, battery. Okay, needed to simplify this. I don't have the generator hooked up yet. I will get to that next. I don't need it to turn this thing over. So that's where I am. Remember, I just wanted to have a clickety clickety. Click, 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 click. So I added new grounding wire. I'm grounded to the frame. Down here, new ground to the frame and to the motor. Sanded those up, cleaned them up. Need to get new grounding. I am going to fix this, but for now it's gonna have to work. But I'll redo that same as this battery post. Make it nice. I don't need to have a fire. We don't need a fire in the non-firehouse. Okay, just simplify this. Okay, so let's see if we can get a clickety clickety here. I'm gonna hook up my little jumper here. Little toggle. I don't want to walk back and forth, but you need to have key switch on. Okay, you got to be on auxiliary. We're good. Keys on. Let's see now if we can get the old engine to boom, 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 boom. At least turn over. That's all we want, this thing to turn. Here we go. And looky there. Awesome. It sounds like that because there's no spark plugs in there, so there's no compression happening. It's spinning pretty easy. So next thing is put the sparkulators back in there and give it a little juice. Let's see where we are. I'm not even gonna touch the distributor at this point, but I'll see if we got spark. We'll check spark here in a second. Be back shortly. All right, well, I fixed up the ground. I rewired it, Grounded it down to the frame, down yonder. Can't see, but let's go ahead and see the spark. If we got some spark. Let's turn the light off. Again, I gotta do this with my trigger finger. Let's see if we can get a spark to show. Key ignition's on. There you go. And I just got shocked. All right, I have plugged back in the spark plugs. I used the old same ones. I just cleaned them up a little bit. The old rusty ones. Like I said, I did not open the distributor. Just not ready to go to those points just yet. But I'm gonna add a little bit of a little juice here. Whoops, just right. Whoops, whoops, whoops. Oh my God, whoops, whoops. Oh, well, that was just right. Okay. Let's see what happens. Let's give this, I've got my key on, ignition's on. Get this light out of the way. Let's fire this thing up for the first time in who knows how long. Decades. Again, decades. This thing has not been running from decades. Probably the 80s. Just been sitting around rotting. Anyway, let's see what we got. Fire in a hole. Holy shit. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Woo! Oh, yeah. Woo, mother. Hell yeah, she's coming around, too. Oh, yeah, baby. Coming around. I'm gonna kill her. That was it. That's all the fuel she had in the float. Son of a... God damn. Hot damn. Got her. Woohoo! Again, this thing hasn't ran for who knows how long. Now I'm gonna make some fuel. I'm gonna get my can, my temp can, connector into this, into my fuel pump, and let's see if this fuel pump wants to kind of pull fuel. Son of a gun. I'll be god darn. Yes! 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 I'll be back. All right, so now that it's running, you know, I quickly checked the oil, but I didn't see. But we got some oil. It smells like a little gas. It's old. I'm gonna go ahead and drain out the oil now. Now that I know that it runs. Woo! Yes! Now I'm gonna put a little bit of money into it, other than my cables. What else? This little disconnect. What else? A little fuel. Oh, and the key switch. I did go and buy a new key switch. 15 bucks. Had to have it. Just had to have it. Okay. Let me dump the oil, change the oil, run to the store and go get some antifreeze and connect up my external gas tank to this. And let's see if we can get this pump, the fuel pump down in there to pull fuel. I can safely say this old gal, she doesn't look like much, but she's did her work. She has done her work, and she is a runner. Check. I need to check the transfer case and the see if it shifts. But other than that, what the hell, man? Hell yeah. Obviously it needs a muffler, but I'll be damned if she ain't a runner. And she's holding fluids, no leaks that I can tell, no freeze plugs gone. She's not blowing any smoke anymore. She did initially. That's because I juiced up her cylinders with some Chromo to turn it by hand. I'll be damned. Let's see. 1987. Hell yeah. I'm just gonna let her run a little bit. She's on the gas tank. She's on the auxiliary tank that I know is clean. I have no idea about the fuel tank yet. And that fuel pump, she's pumping. That diaphragm came around. It's pumping on its own. I'll be damned. I do not have the generator hooked up, so I'm just running straight off the battery. I bypassed that because we got just some bad wires, so I don't have the generator. Although it's running, it's not generating. It's not charging the battery. There we have it, guys. The old L134, 1958. DJ. This is a DJ dispatch Jeep 3A. Rock on, buddy. Hey, well, it's the next day. Later afternoon. And just getting back to this. I know we got it fired up last time. There's a couple things I noticed. I noticed when I had the radiator cap off that it was just constantly flowing. That told me either the thermostat was stuck, or a lot of times these old fellas took the thermostat out because it was bad and they couldn't get a replacement. So before I went and did much more, I wanted to verify that. I did take the housing off, thermostat housing off. It had a thermostat in it, but it must have been stuck open because it was just constantly flowing. Anyway, I just did a quick cleanup on that. She was rusted up a bit, but I cleaned it up. I made a little gasket. I didn't have time to wait for one to come in the mail. We don't have them local. And I went and got a 160 degree. I like to run 160 degree in these fellas, these old girls, just to keep them a little bit cool. They can get hot. You know, some of these old ladies, they get hot from time to time. So this is the retainer, thermostat retainer. So we'll get that put back in. We'll get that back on ice, this engine back on some ice. And we're gonna fire it back up and see if we can scooter out of here. Now, there's a little trick to this. Like I said before, she's not pretty. She's been weathered. So, she's either gonna come out of here on her pedals and move me along, scoot me along. I don't know how fast we're gonna go, but I just want to get up and down the road out in front. Look at there, somebody put an old AMs. And what do we got here? I don't know, some no-name speakers. So somebody is listening to a little music while, special treat, while they held their guns and their fishing poles. A little poach off the side of the road, maybe. Anyway, there's the gas. Gas is still on a temp tank. She's running over there. So we got clean gas. The ignition, you're just hanging there, waiting to spark up. But, like I said, she's not pretty. She's either going to pedal me out of here, or I'm going to be running tail and doing Flintstones coming out of here. Let's see. I'll be back. I'm going to put this back together, and I'll be back, fire this up, and we will scooter out. All right, we're back. Got the thermostat and thermostat housing back on. Buttoned it up. She's probably a little low on juice, but we'll fill that up later. Yeah, she's a little bit low. Maybe I'll go ahead and top it off real quick. Yeah, I'll top it off before. You know what? I'm not gonna worry about it right now. We're not gonna be lighting this thing up and going down the road more than 10 miles an hour. It's not gonna blow up and get super hot if it goes. So, let me give you a little backstory on this lady. A couple years ago, I drove down to Chama, New Mexico. From where I live, a few hour drive, and I got there. I found it on the markets, and I got down there, and as you can see, it was a little more rough than what they described. And now I'm down there with my truck and trailer ready to bring this home. And you know, it's always it ran when last parked, so on and so forth. It's all good. Well, it didn't have any of that, and it was rotted. It's got some rust. I already showed you guys under the seat. Right, it's a nice little see-through right there. And unfortunately, they let the back go bad too. So we got some holes. And we got some smoke. So if I pass out in this thing while we're cruising the strip, you know, don't worry. I'm going to be all right. I'll come back too. But better have a rear view. I'll come back too. But anyway, I'm down there and I'm looking and I'm like, man, guys. And there's a lot of shit that happens down in on the border of southern Colorado, northern New Mexico. Kind of a sketchy place down there. Anyway, I'm down there, him hawing around saying, you know, I came down here and this isn't what I thought, yada yada, and I just was ready to pack it up and go home. But the gent down there, the old Harley gangster, old man, he was legit, and I'm talking straight up an honest guy, white beard. This is one of those guys that you could, if you became friends with this guy, he's your friend. We made a little connection down there. He was cool. We talked it over, and he said, Sean, here's the price I'll take. I don't want you to go home empty. I know you came down here for this. I don't want you to go home empty. He threw me a price I just couldn't. I just couldn't walk away from it. And no matter how cheap you pick these things up, you're going to toss some money into them. Anyway, I still was like, I knew that was still coming, but it was a price that I was like, okay, at least I'm cruising back with something on the trailer. It's not costing me much at all. It was in the 3 digits. And no cents. And anyway, got her home, and it's been sitting around. I knew it didn't have a starter. The old gent got me the title, so it's got a title. It took him a while to go back and forth and get that title worked out, but he got me the title, honestly. A couple months later, he said, Sean, I got the title. Meet me in this town. I'll hand it over to you. Sure as shit. The guy was straight up legit. I appreciate him. Good guy. Those are the kind of people you want to do business with. He was straight. Man, if everybody was like him, this world would be a good place. Maybe a little sketchy, but good quality people. Anyway, got it home. I knew it didn't have a starter. I wasn't in a hurry. I wasn't going to drop any money into this thing. I got a couple of the projects I've been working on, in particular my 48. I wanted to get that done. And then I picked up a couple other early CJs in the meantime. Long story short, Sunday came around this last Sunday, and I was like, you know what? I just pulled an F134 out of my 60 CJ, and I think that starter will work on this 58 DJ. And I got on and I looked, because, hey, this isn't my profession. I'm a hacker hobbyist. Just what I like to do. And it gets me good. Sucks me right in there. I get that way. Anyway, found out, counted the tooth on the flywheel on this, and the 9-tooth starter worked, and that's what I had. Dropped that starter in, as you saw earlier in the videos. Dropped that starter in, did some messing, and we got her fired up. So here we are. That's the background. And it was a cool trip. That was my first time in that part of southern Colorado, into Chama, into northern New Mexico. It was really pretty down there, guys. If you ever get a chance to take that cruise down in that area of the country, and it was really pretty stuff. So here we are. I'm going to get this old girl fired up now, and we're going to see if we can't pedal this thing right on out the garage here and get around the block maybe. Here's what I know. I don't know, but I know. These old girls, they never have brakes. I know it doesn't have brakes. I haven't even tried this. I didn't even want to step on the pedal. So I'm hoping I got some 1s and 2s and 3s and an R and a transfer case that'll get me into low. We don't want this. I live on a hill. There's this neighborhood. I live in a neighborhood. I'm not gonna lie. It's a little neighborhood. I got some space and some elbow room, but gotta be careful. So hopefully it's got a transfer case and I can get this thing just running slow enough. Like I said, I know it doesn't have brakes. They never do. Never have brakes. I don't even know if it's got a clutch. So we're gonna find out real quick if we can even scoot it out of here or if I'm gonna Flintstone it. So here we go. Let's get this thing fired up, hopefully, and go from there. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and drop this hood. Let's give her a few pumps. Let's see if this gal wants to start. We got the rear view mirrors, so we can get off. Look at that. Let's see how we look. Yeah, looks good. Looking good. Got the hat on. Looking good. Looking good. I got a little seat in here. I don't want to fall through the springs either. All right. Let's see here. Let's see, we got the starter. We're in neutral. In neutral. Let's see if we can start this girl. This is so hard with one hand. They don't make it easy. Then we put the phone down, guys. Broken exhaust, and it's coming through the floor. All right, well, let's see first if we got a clutch, because it's awfully soft. Let's see if we got first. Neutral. First. Whoa, popped her. Try that again. Wasn't expecting that. Hold up. Let me get this going again. Clutchage! Woo! We got a clutch. We got first. Let's see if we got reverse. Yeah, baby! Woo! Let's roll. Let's roll. We are cruising. Hot diggity dog. Again, I got her in 4 low just because I want the low gear, because I got no brakes. Nothing. Like I said, not a thing. There goes the receipt. Better keep that. Hey, come back here. Alright, let's get on this a little bit. Ooh, she's jumpy a little bit. But she's going on her own wheels. God damn. Let's try second. Well, I'll be damned. No speedometer. notorious for popping out of second. This was really not smart of me to come down this in second. Bad idea. We're going nice and slow though. Alright, we got her. Let's pop her into third. I don't know if you can see me. You can see the drivetrain down there spinning. That's my little people. You know what we got? Yeah, we're in third, baby. She's cruising. She's stinking. Like I said, I'm liable to pass out. Need an exhaust system on this. I really don't want to throw any money into this right now though. Well, guys, she's a driver, she's a runner, she's a driver. She's not all that pretty, but she needs a little work. But don't we all? Don't we all? Well, I hope you like this video.